Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, after so many months of being gone, I'm finally back and I'm gonna set up my bullet journal for July. I have a really cute and colorful theme, so let's just get right into it. So I'm pretty sure you were already aware of this. You saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, but my theme for this month is actually SpongeBob SquarePants. If you've been around for a couple months, or maybe you know me from my Instagram posts or my Pinterest posts, because my Pinterest has been going insane lately, I think you know that I have a thing for character themes. I love cartoons and I love turning them into bullet journal themes, so this month is no different. I feel like July is the perfect month for maybe ocean themes or seaside themes. I wanted to do something a little bit more different though, and so I wanted to combine that with a character, and what better character is there related to the ocean if not SpongeBob, who practically lives in the freaking ocean. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm fully aware that this kind of theme is not really accessible to everybody, because not everyone has this kind of time on their hands. To be perfectly honest, I don't even have this kind of time on my hands, which is why I've been missing from YouTube for a couple months. So yeah, but now that I'm done with school and I'm finally on my summer break, I have enough time to actually sit around all day and doodle and do this stuff, but it's perfectly fine if you just want to watch without actually getting inspired. So anyway, back to the actual theme without so much yapping. Usually when I do character themes, for example, I've done Strawberry Shortcake or Hello Kitty and all these other cute characters, I would normally dedicate a spread to each character. This time, however, I wasn't really feeling that and I wanted it to be a little bit different from what I've done in the past, so this time it's gonna be either multiple characters on a page or no characters at all. For example, on the next spread that I'm gonna show you, you're gonna see the pineapple under the sea without an actual character, just so you know how this is gonna work. I'm already moving on to coloring all these characters, and I'm gonna have to say it was kind of a challenge. I do have a lot of markers, but normally when I do stuff like this, I want to match the colors as closely as possible to the actual colors of the characters, and it was kind of a pain in the butt to do this, but I think in the end they do look pretty nice. I want to hear your thoughts on it though. And as another side note, on my cover page this month, I chose to put all the main characters or the most important characters, whatever you want to call them. I thought it was really cute. I found this on Pinterest, and by the way, every single inspiration photo or reference photo that I've had, you can find on Pinterest. I'm gonna leave it linked in the description box. Also, something very important, as always, I'm using a bunch of different markers actually. I never stick to one brand, and I recommend that you do the same if you can. For example, for this theme, I've used my Ohuhu fineliners. When it comes to fineliners, I'm pretty set on always using Ohuhu though. Like, they're so good and they come in so many different sizes. But when it comes to the coloring, I've used my Ohuhu markers. I also used some Tombow dual brush pens, and I also did use some Crayola super dips later on. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I do have one tip that I could give you as someone who has been doing this for a long time and also has a remarkable collection of markers. What I would do if I had to go back in time is I would build what they usually call a capsule wardrobe, but when it comes to markers instead. Basically, I would get all the basic colors and I would make sure that I have those before actually getting more and more colors, so I'd get one single marker of every color just to make sure that no matter what theme I want to do, I'm gonna have the right markers. That is what I did at first, and it worked out pretty fine, but I do have to say, to be fully transparent, that most of the markers that I do have at the moment are markers that I got through a bunch of different collabs and all that kind of stuff that happened through my Instagram. Anyway, I digress again. When it comes to my cover page, you can see that I'm adding these colorful blobs all over the page. I saw this in my reference photo, and initially I was kind of reluctant on doing it onto my page because I thought it was gonna look a little bit messy, but I think it did actually look so nice, and I think it's adding so much personality and so much color to the page. Now on to my very simple but very cute quote page. Obviously, I couldn't really choose a quote that was directly related to SpongeBob, although I feel like this one that I did choose in the end kind of matches the vibes. It says, "It's not about winning, it's about having fun," and this theme is all about having fun. Obviously, I couldn't just leave the rest of the page empty, so I'm adding 2 more doodles. I'm adding one of these very specific flower-like thingies that are very characteristic to SpongeBob. We all know them. We all see them everywhere when it comes to SpongeBob. And I'm also adding a jellyfish, which I think is really, really cute. And of course, the bubbles, which are going to be present all throughout this month. And that was it for the very first 2 pages of this video. Here's a close-up so you can see all the details and the colors, and now we're ready to move on to my calendar spread. This is the layout that I've been using for my calendar spread for maybe about a year or so, possibly even more than that. It works for me. It's quite easy to make, and what I'm doing is I'm drawing a calendar practically on one page, kind of overlapping onto the second page, and then on that second page I'm gonna have my 1 line a day kind of thing. I also love including this section of the page. For some reason I feel like it keeps memories alive a lot better than just a simple calendar. Also, as you can already see, I practically gave up on my black fine liner when it comes to my calendar. So what I did is I used the color that was already part of my color scheme to actually line the calendar, and I think it just adds to the whole vibe of it. It's not necessarily bad if you want to use a black fine liner, but for me, I find this to look a little bit more fun. Looking back at this spread, I think I do have to say it's probably my least favorite this month. I just added like a bunch of random elements to the page, and I think they don't really make sense together, but you should let me know what you think. As I'm editing this video, I realized that I forgot to go and add the white details to my water bubbles that you see all over the page, but I'm definitely gonna do that later on. Here's a close-up, and now let's move on to my habit tracker, which is a very colorful and special spread. I don't know what exactly happened in my mind one day, but I have decided for the past couple months that my habit trackers need to be these incredibly difficult and complex and colorful and beautiful spreads. Usually people followed me because I had these minimalistic spreads and it was stuff that everybody could recreate, but recently for some reason I felt the need to go out a little bit more. And obviously, as you're about to see, this spread is no exception. I'm currently drawing SpongeBob and Patrick on a little towel. They're at the beach, but I decided to extend the scenery onto the other page. Normally, I would only dedicate one page to my doodles and then the other page to simply the boxes for my habit tracker. But this month, I wanted to be even more extra than usual. Alright, so here comes the part that I was pretty scared about. I'm gonna color in the entire background of these two pages. Currently, I'm doing the sand, which was kind of messy because the markers kind of merged together, and there's some areas on this page which you cannot see because it's pretty far away, but there are some areas where the sand looks a little bit red or a little bit blue from the towel. It's kind of silly, but it's not a big deal. It happens every time. And now, as you can see, I'm doing the exact same thing onto the other page. As of now, I did not yet line my boxes for my habit tracker. I decided to do that afterwards so that it doesn't smudge all over the place. And of course, to complete the entire scene, I had to add some water as well. They're at the beach, so of course. And I really love this marker. For some reason, it's one of my favorite colors that I have. It's an Ohuhu marker. And now, while you watch me line everything, which is obviously a very boring part, I want to ask you guys a question. So, as you can already tell, my videos have always been kind of really long because unfortunately I cannot move faster than this. For some reason, I'm a very slow person when it comes to journaling, and when it comes to my hobbies in general, I really love taking my time. Which is why recently I have considered making some no talking videos. I know I said that a couple times before, but I never actually went through with it. I feel like it would be a really cute video to maybe, I don't know, work to, study to, just keep in the background, especially for example when it comes to my August video, which I will be making. I'm not gonna disappear again. I have a really cute theme, kind of minimalistic, you know, kind of different from what I've done so far, and I think it would be really relaxing to just watch the time lapse and relax a little bit. So although I think this video is not gonna do very well because, as I said, I've been missing quite a lot, I would really appreciate it if the people that are watching the video would let me know if you guys would want to see that kind of video. I mean, it definitely does not involve any extra effort on my part. It would actually be quite the opposite. So you should let me know, and I'm gonna make sure to implement that in my next video. Finally, we are all done with the spread. Here is the close-up. I think it turned out really cute and really colorful. And now it's time to move on to my playlist spread. Now, when it comes to playlist spreads, there's kind of a discussion around them. They're not really part of the classic or traditional bullet journaling method. Obviously, it doesn't really help at all with your productivity, but usually my bullet journal is also kind of a diary. It's kind of combined. Although I have a separate notebook for my diary, I still like to implement elements of both of them in this notebook that you see right now. I just think it adds a little bit more personality to the spreads focused on productivity and mental clarity, and it's also a really fun way to keep track of my interests at the time, like what music I was listening to, and I think it just works out for me for some reason. Another benefit you can get from this is the fact that you can go a couple months back and see what songs you were listening to, and for me it's mostly songs that I'm currently forgetting about, so it's a really nice way to refresh my memory. For this spread, I found a really interesting and a really cute doodle, and that is a Polaroid kind of thing of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. After I colored all the characters, I decided to add some more elements to the page so that it doesn't look too simple. As you can already tell, I'm being extra this month and I'm adding so many other cute details. And now for the actual boxes, when I'm gonna write down the name of the songs and of course the artist, I'm using the same marker that I used for my calendar and practically every other boxes that I've done throughout this month. To make things a little bit more realistic, I'm gonna make it seem like the Polaroid is actually stuck to the page, and I'm gonna use some washi tape to do that. I have these 39 rolls of washi tape, which I actually have a code for. I'm gonna be leaving the link in the description box. You can get 30% off, and I chose this bluish color that I'm gonna stick right at the top to make it seem like, you know, it's a cute little scrapbooking thing. And now onto the other page. Normally this page would be what I call a review. Basically, I would write down my thoughts about the month, the movies I've seen, and the books I've read. But this month I am actually doing something a little bit more exciting, which is a packing list, because I'm going on freaking vacation, finally. The layout is as simple as can be. I'm adding a bunch of different boxes because I want to have things sectioned. So I'm gonna have one box for my clothes, one for my hygiene stuff, one for, you know, hair care, skin care, all that other stuff. And as always, here is the final look and a cute close-up at this very cute spread. And now let's move on to the last thing I want to show you today, which is of course my first weekly spread of July. All my weekly spreads follow the same exact pattern. I'm gonna have like a really big doodle at the bottom of the page and then boxes all over the place. So right now you can see me drawing SpongeBob and Patrick. Of course, they're eating ice cream, and I think this was so cute. For some reason, I'm a very big fan of drawing ice cream. I'm not a really big fan of ice cream as a thing, but you know. For the spread to be a little bit more balanced, I'm adding some extra doodles here and there, mostly jellyfish, because I've added these throughout the theme, like on different spreads. And I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the video, when I did my cover page, I added these colorful blobs all over the characters, and I decided to do that same thing here to just keep the theme going and make everything a little bit more compact. And now when it comes to the boxes, I'm using the same exact marker that I have been using throughout this theme. Of course, it's an Ohuhu marker, and I'm actually using the fine liner tip of it. I'm not using, of course, the brush tip. And here is a final look at this last spread. Let me know what you think. I think the doodles here are so adorable. And that, guys, was the theme that I wanted to show you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it relaxed you. I hope that maybe you found some inspiration for yourself. Don't forget that the links to all my socials, as well as some discount codes and affiliate codes, can be found in the description box below. And until next time, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this theme. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!